anyone that decides to stay beyond the 2-year IEC visa is going to experience the stress that permanent residency causes, the whether it's implied status, whether you have to apply for a bridging visa, whether you are just waiting to renew your PR card, whether you are waiting to apply for citizenship, so many different stages. And I suppose, Blah, I know you yourself had a very long wait for permanent residency, and can attest to how like that uncertain situation can like affect your mental health.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly, I suppose, like, I didn't chat too much about it, and when anybody asked me, like, I was just like, it's fine, I'm gonna get it, it's gonna be fine, it's grand. But like, there was days where I was just like, where I was just like, am I ever gonna get it? Well, if I had to go home, like, am I gonna be all right? And especially when I was due a decision on my PR, COVID hit that month. It was like I had sent in like the last few remaining documents that was needed for the 30 days, and then a week later the entire country had gone into lockdown, and my visa was running out like that following month, and I was like, what am I going to do? So basically I had been anybody who knows me knows I'm quite well prepared for anything, most things that ever happen. So my visa was ending in April this year, and I applied and put in my full application in October last year, so October 9th, 2019, put in the entire application. Everything was going along smoothly, and I had been asked no other questions. I got on this 2nd of March the letter saying like, oh, this is confirmation that you're going to get your COP or your PR card within the next 30 days. All you need to do is send off your passport, which is basically them linking your PR to your passport. So did that, and they received it on the 10th of March, and then 7 days later, COVID hit. And I was like, in the kind of frame of mind that I was like, oh no, it's grand, like they've said they're going to keep going, like I'll probably get it now at the end of April or at the end of March, and then I won't have to go in applied status, I won't have to go for my bridging visa or anything like that. And as it came nearer to it, I started getting more and more worried, and I was like, God, I don't think I'm going to get this, and I'd like to get it because like obviously I want to stay on it, and I would like to go home and travel home and stuff like that. So I ended up having to go on to a bridging visa, which was obviously like having to spend more money, which I didn't really want to do. Knowing I couldn't travel home, knowing I couldn't travel home was probably the hardest point of it all, because it was like COVID hit. You didn't know who was going to be affected. I'm like Louise, and now that so I'm from Kildare, so Kildare has gone back into lockdown now this time. And even still, like, even though I've gotten PR in July, I still have to wait for my PR card to come. So all of that was really, really difficult. Like, I remember by the end of May, kind of start of June, I was like checking my emails like every two to three times a day. I was like, am I going to get this? If something happens, will I get home? And there was times where I was just like, it was getting so exhausting to even think about. I knew I wasn't going to be getting my bridging visa. That by the time I got it in July, I was looking, because they were doing landings by email. So I got the email on like a Thursday morning, and I was looking at it, and I actually texted Louise because I was like, is this real or am I getting scammed? So I had to like email and do my landing, and then they still, even though it was then confirmed on my profile, they still hadn't sent me out like the digital copier's COPR, there we go, eventually got it. They didn't send it out till the following Friday, so I had a week in between where I was even like, did I actually get it? Am I imagining it? Do I need to contact somebody? Maybe I've given information to wrong people. So it was just like, it took 9 months in total. So I sent it in the 9th of October, as I said, and I officially got it on the 9th of July 2020. And like that last point from April to July was probably the most stressful. And in terms of my own mental health, constantly worried something was going to happen. And like I suppose I'm one of those people that if you probably know something is wrong with me, because I always wear my heart on my sleeve, so you'll know very quickly whether I'm annoyed, whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad. And I just didn't talk about it, because it was just one of those things where I was like, because I obviously haven't been home. So the last time I was home was November 2018. So I actually haven't seen my dad in nearly 2 years. He's actually retiring from the Guards now in the next month. He's going to be 60 in the next month. And I was being faced with the possibility of I'm not going to get to see him for either of those two big occasions. So like that was quite upsetting. Sorry. That was quite upsetting to me, because it's been so long. And I suppose like I was really lucky in that my sisters came out at Christmas and I'd seen my mum the summer before, but it's even like the smaller things, like all the family occasions and stuff like that. So thankfully, like I've gotten my PR, but I now, in order for me to travel, if I needed to travel, I would still need to get a visa approved by the embassy in London if I was coming back, because I don't have the PR card, and the PR card takes 98 days at the moment, or it can take up to 98 days. So that would be looking at the middle of October for the possibility of getting home. So I mean, it's just one of those things that you like, you don't people ask how it's going on, and you're like, oh yeah, it's grand, and in the back of your head you're like, oh god, I really hope I just get it and they don't come back and reject my application, because it could have, and then I would have had to like uproot my life completely and go back to Ireland. And I'm very lucky that I'm still on career break.
I think what you said there about having, like, it's the uncertainty of being, whether it's between visas or applying for your bridging visa, waiting on PR, whatever it is, it's the most stressful thing, because at any point, like especially if you're on implied status, and if you get that rejection, you have what, days to just uproot your whole life and go.
Like even though they came out and they said they now, like, but it wasn't until the end of May, start of June, that they said now anybody who's at the end now has 90 days. You have 90, because normally you'd have like a week to get out of the country. Because as you said, like implied status, if anything goes wrong, and I had only started a new job in November, that was it. Like you would have to be gone within a week, or you risk like having this black mark on your visa that you can never return to Canada, or you can't return for a certain amount of years anyway. So it was like trying to keep the fingers crossed that you're going to get it every morning. I'd say the button was nearly broken on my scroll from like trying to get into my mail so many times. And then I was getting like all these, and I was like, I don't even care about Strava. I was like, stop telling me I have to go running today. I don't want to. It was just, and like you're kind of going, did I do something wrong? Am I going to be caught out? Like, am I going to have CBSA at the front door one day with a letter telling me they're going to take me now? Like, it's just one of those experiences that you're like, you will be grand when you're at the end of it. Yeah. But it's going through it is like probably one of the most stressful things I've ever done in my life.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. Yeah, when I did mine, I was just like the stress, and I'm a bit of a bottler, and now just hearing you say it, I realize how bad I was myself. But I wouldn't let anybody know it was stressful. Yeah. I was thinking about it constantly. I was like, it'll be fine. But inside I was like, so yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's good to hear.
Oh Christ, like, and I know so many other people are in the same boat as well, and it's like something we don't, with such an Irish way of dealing with it, you're like, it's grand, don't worry about it. And I think at one point one of my friends asked me, and she's like, how are you doing with it? And I was like, I don't even want to talk about it. I was like, it's done, it's over with. I don't want to even think about it right now.
Yeah, and like logically you're probably like, this is out of my control, there's no point in thinking about it, but that's impossible. Like even if it's going on for so long, it's always in the back of your mind.
Kate, you said it's out of your control. We're still going through it since last September. We've got PR, thankfully, but again, it was right as COVID hit. We had sent away our passports. The letter came to say send away your passports, My girlfriend did most of it, to be honest, and I wasn't stressed about myself, but I know she was. But we're reading the letter, and I just said, look, send off the passports. Okay. I didn't want to do the photocopy thing.
Yeah, I did the same thing. And then people were like,
said,
you've lost your passport. What are you going to do? I was like, sure, I'm not going anywhere in the country anyway.
Yeah, you felt helpless then. That's the way I thought. Look, we're not going anywhere for 3 months. We'll have it back.
Lads, please, if you're watching this, don't send off your actual passport. Send a photocopy. Don't send your passport.
That's it, yeah. Don't send your passport.
Yeah, I've met so many people after I did it that they were like, I sent off my passport as well. You're actually supposed to send off a copy of your passport.
Yeah, because we emailed them, like, it was going on, I think we sent them away probably March as well.
Yeah.
And we only got them back, I'd say maximum a month ago.
Yeah.
So we're like, we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. If something happened, as you said, couldn't go home. Couldn't go, like, you couldn't do anything really. We asked them, I'd say we sent 12 emails. It was like, can you just give us the passport? Surely do photocopies yourself, but no, nothing.
No.
So yeah, don't send your passports if you're listening.
Yeah, just send your photocopies. Don't go through like the stress of that. Because like even I was saying, like if I lost, like even if I had wanted to go back in and redo my driver's license. So like obviously when you're on applied status, you don't get a proper driver's license. You only get a yellow slip. And I couldn't go in and do that because you need 2 forms of ID. So I had I have my BC ID card, and I should have just gone in with that. And like, I think it would have been okay with another thing, but they actually look for your passport when you're doing the renewal. So even I couldn't go in and renew my driver's license for BC either. So it was like another thing that was like, oh, I can't drive. I can't go anywhere. I don't have a second form of ID if I lose my BC ID card.
Yeah.
This is a great example of what not to do.
Well, the other thing I would say is leave yourself plenty of time when it comes to renew your PR cards, because we got slightly caught out with that. 3 of us needed to renew ours. The 4th one was on a slightly different cycle. And we got 2 back, and the other one didn't come back. And we had a trip down to the States for a long weekend arranged, and it literally arrived 3 days before we flew. We were convinced that we were going to have to cancel the trip, and we had left plenty of time. Like we'd left an extra, at least a buffer of 6 weeks beyond the waiting list time that had been displayed when we applied. So just keep that in mind going forward, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like you look at IRCC's website and it can say, okay, the current wait time for a PR card is 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when you send it off.
Yeah.
That could be 150 days.
Yeah.
For all you know, like
years,
like processing times.
It's only a guideline. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really
important.
Yeah,
I know, Kate, you're going through your renewal with your PR card and then hoping to do your citizenship next year as well.
So yeah, I've applied for my citizenship, and if COVID hadn't have happened, I would probably be a Canadian citizen right now. But yeah, like even like I understand that like I'm lucky that I have my PR and it's not nowhere near as stressful as an uncertain immigration situation. But it is still annoying that they have completely cancelled citizenship tests. I believe they're starting to go through some virtual citizenship ceremonies to get rid of that backlog at least, but 5 months later there's still no chat of when they're going to start the citizenship exams again. So yeah, that's just an additional one, as well as them obviously not opening the pools for new IEC visas. But like I do understand why they're obviously prioritizing PR and people
who are already here,
yeah, in those situations. But there's a lot of different immigration stresses that
I almost think I had to leave all those groups in Facebook. One in my immediately circle got their PR. We were just out the group because it was almost triggering to hear anyone ask a question on PR, because you're like, oh, I don't want to, like, you know, because everyone has their own little like heart attack moment when it comes to PR. Like no one's ever goes as smoothly as they might claim it is. There's always that little like, oh, and when you get a message, your heart sinks because you just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And you just be optimistic, ask the questions. Like the search bar is there in those pages.
Yeah.
There's people that are on it, like Niall Carey for immigration, and I see that Ailish always puts in, like, there's and Anya, they're always writing, like, you know, there's like loads of people there that can help you out, and then you can take it to the side and, you know, ask someone who's already done it before. Like that's how Blah and I and all of our group managed to get through it, was someone knew how to do it, and then you just like taught them how to do it, and they'll teach someone else how to do it, and everyone's ones are different, but there's kind of like the same steps, and just always be organized and give yourself time.
Yeah, and definitely, like as you said, like the Facebook page, Irish and Applying for PR, like, is great. But if you're in any doubt, definitely it's worth even just having a consultation with an immigration consultant to just alleviate any stresses that you have, and talk to your friends, as we've seen here. Talk if you're stressed about the wait times, or if you start second guessing something that you submitted. Like, don't be sitting in your own stress and your own anxiety about the whole thing. Chat about it.
Yeah, like there's 3 of us between, like, in our group, I suppose, with myself and Lou, there's myself and like 2 other couples going for it. So they were all like, we've been comparing timelines, and when did you send in that, and what did you, and because they obviously applied for the Britain visas at the same time. They're actually not too bad because they all have their Britain visas, but it was just like, how far along the bar are you? And I was like, lads, don't even look at that bar. It's not even bloody worth it. It doesn't give you anything. It's not worth the stress of it. But yeah, it's probably, as Lou says, it's like there's those everybody has that moment during like PR where your heart like just drops, and you're kind of going, oh my god, and you're like, you just kind of have to take a step back from it, like, oh. But like, yeah, that Irish and Applying, and like that Irish and Applying for your PR is great because it has like, as in the last, while I've been trying to like do my MSP and renew my SIN number and stuff like that, I've literally just gone into the top bar at the top of the page and put in one of the keywords I'm looking for, and it comes with so many conversations, even from the last 6 to 8 months, and people then like giving people updates on how they've been getting on and stuff like that. So it's so helpful, and it kind of helps to put your mind a little bit at ease. And I suppose this is the good side of social media, in that like sometimes like it can be detrimental, in that you're thinking you should be doing something that's other people are doing, and then you see this side of it where it's like, and maybe it's that Irish community feel again in it, in that it's that thing of Irish abroad helping each other, as well as giving you just that little bit of a sense of, okay, I'm not out of the norm, and if something is out of the norm, these are the people who I need to go to chat to.
Yeah. There's one little saying, like there's a couple of sayings I'm always saying, no news is good news, and as that sounds like, you're like, what? You're like, you will hear from them if they need something. If you don't hear from them, just one day it's going to come true. But like, you know,
just keep reading.
always get somebody to look over your application before you press anything to submit. Like I went down to a mutual friend of ours before, and before I'd even submit it, I was like, you have your work dates that you started to say, you know, it was just, you need to add them, like, get it right, and just taking pictures of everything you submit, because you're going to have to almost mirror the information a couple of times. Just stay organized and sit down, and Facebook and social media is a great way of looking back at your trips to see where you were, especially for travel history. And it's good. Like, don't be like me and be like weirdo on like an Excel spreadsheet and all your days you've been in Canada, like, but you know, good to stay organized though.
Well, Zach, aren't you lucky that you don't have to go through any of this?
No, I'm
it's just like on Facebook now.
By the sounds of it.
That's like, get me home now.
I do feel like it's a bit of a rite of passage, though, that if you want to stay here, you got to work for it.
Well, I think I'm very fortunate. I came here as PR, and the whole system changed not long after we arrived. So you all have my sympathies based on what I'm hearing and what I see on Facebook. It's a long journey to get your PR after an initial 2-year visa here, but definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And you have those few lucky people that are born in Northern Ireland and get to apply for their second IEC. You just look at them and you're like, oh, you have it way too easy now, way too easy.